free-to-play shooter XDefiant by Ubisoft has now been out for about 9 days when I'm doing this video. Already now there has been discussions about certain features, weapons and gadgets in the game that people are considering to be annoying and maybe overpowered as well, and are simply ruining the overall gameplay experience for a lot of people. One thing that has come up over and over again in online discussions and also between me and friends when playing XDefiant is the use or abuse of bunny hopping and air strafing at the same time that is going on in more or less every game you play now. Ubisoft has acknowledged this, and a nerf is therefore around the corner, meaning any day soon. I read the following on X, meaning former Twitter. We do intend to penalize players for too many repeated jumps and crouches by adding aim sway. This was disabled after our tests while we made some needed improvements and unfortunately did not make it in time for launch. But rest assured, we will get this in as soon as possible. We absolutely want players to use all mechanics in our game and not feel restricted, but there's a sweet spot between intended use and spam, and we want to get that right. Players have said that they don't believe that the bunny hopping wouldn't be as annoying if jumping had a much bigger effect on accuracy. Hitboxes also seem to shrink on people who are actually jumping. This is a saying from X when it comes to a discussion regarding the effects on bunny hopping in XDefiant. People that are bunny hopping a lot are saying that this is not new in any way. It has been a thing in, for example, older COD games as well. But since I was there already back in the days when COD 4 was a thing and onwards, I have to say that I disagree to a certain extent, since older COD never had people spamming jumping in the way I've seen it being practiced recent years. And those older games didn't really allow you to jump like 15 feet around a corner either, due to its mechanics and gameplay design. Personally, I believe this upcoming nerf in XDefiant is needed, although I also understand and believe that movement is an important factor in a shooter such as XDefiant and similar. Although, for me, I don't really define XDefiant per se as a movement shooter. Movement shooter for me is more like old school Quake games, Unreal Tournament, where so-called bunny hopping was also a way to boost your speed when moving on the map. But maybe games such as Apex Legends in modern days, as an example, can be counted into this category to a certain extent. It is a bit unfortunate that the sway penalized when spamming jumping or crouching wasn't in place already at launch, since I then believe this wouldn't have been such a thing or a hot potato in the first place. But I guess that goes for some other features and also bugs that still are in the game at launch. For example, practicing range that was finally added recently, but even more important, a kill cam, since cheaters has already been spotted as well in XDefiant, something that is a topic and a video in itself, I guess. But I want to add though to the whole movement, that discussion, that you can actually do well in the game without pogo stick jumping your way through the map. The clips you're watching in this video is me ranking up the M4 in the game, playing it in a bit of a slower pace from time to time, sure, using movement to my advantage also to get out on top in some close quarter gunfights and situations, but nothing crazy or over the top really. But again, the upcoming nerf will bring some more balance into the ecosystem of the game. In addition to the movement nerf and discussion, I also wanted to say that I still, though, are waiting for the absolute most important update and fix in my belief and eyes, and that is the improvement when it comes to netcode and hit registration. I know that there are already people, and one or two of my friends, that has left the game already since they believe that the overall performance in the game is underperforming and not their cup of tea, therefore. And it is concerning that Ubisoft hasn't been able to fix this before launch, considering the time they've had to address the problem. I guess a lot of people, myself included, is insanely tired of dying behind corners in XDefiant, and it happens more or less in every single game or match. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Top priority in my book when it comes to fixes. Besides that, there's always opinions about certain guns and most likely classes and their abilities in the game. Something being considered to be stronger and more effective than others. I recently made a video where I shared my thoughts and impressions overall about XDefiant, and as said there, I'm not a fan of a wall hack feature in a game like this. I know it's related to one of the characters from the Ubisoft universe, but even so, not so much of a problem when there's maybe just one guy using it in the other team, but when 3 opponents are using it at the same time, man, I was lit up like a Christmas tree through walls almost the entire match. And what to do here then? Well, longer cooldown for a certain ability maybe, or maybe at least a restriction in the upcoming real ranked mode that is supposed to come soon, where for example only 1 or 2 persons in a team can have or use the same ability. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Lastly but not least, there's one thing that I don't see many people are talking about, and that is the Incendiary rounds in the game. I've never been a fan of this in any online shooters that I've played, and I thought that also Ubisoft would have known by now how much controversy and discussions Incendiary rounds has caused in similar shooters. COD is one example, especially in combination with certain guns. I'm sorry, it does feel a bit cheesy for me. So also here I want to ask you guys, what's your take on this? I'm following the continuous development and fixes when it comes to XDefiant with interest, since even though this is a shooter that doesn't have a very strong identity of its own, it can still be fun to play. The game is playing the strings of recognition, if you will, when it comes to certain style of a game and gunplay that many of us have experienced before, and by saying that also nostalgia. Will that be enough though to keep this game going for a longer period of time? Time will tell for sure, so let's keep an eye on that. With that said, I'm not going any further with this video right now. I want to say thank you for watching, and also if you enjoyed, please give it a like since it helps me out here on YouTube. And if you want to see more FPS content, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. And with that said, have a great day now. Game on and later.
Serves 'em right.